G'day, welcome back. This is episode 41 and we're going to continue on with the chassis refurbishment. And in this episode, I'm going to start tackling the springs and all the other odds and ends at the front end. So let's get into it. Alright, so I thought I'd join you down where all the components are on the floor. I've been through this a couple of times, so it's all laid out in each individual section, and every single component needs to be cleaned up. So, for instance, the spring. I don't know a lot about suspension and spring components, but I do know that a V8 spring, can be just used forever basically. I mean, unless it's really rusted out. These, I don't know whether these were lowered springs or not. I know that the front end was considerably lower than a standard, so I don't know whether that was just sag or it was because of the lowered springs. Based on the rest of the ute, I'd imagine they were. So I don't know how you can find that out, and I guess it's just by measuring on a standard spring length and then comparing to this. So I think I'm going to refurbish these and just reuse them, and then I'll obviously replace the shocks with, and as you saw, they were shot. So what color I'm going to do these? I may do them in the, I don't know if you remember back a few episodes ago where I sprayed the wheels on the Carrera wheels. I sprayed them that sort of gunmetal grey, and I was thinking maybe doing a few of these components. I've got a little bit of that paint left over, and then maybe doing a few of those components in that paint, and the springs might be one of those components. As I also mentioned, a lot of these upper and lower control arms were refurbished not too long before I disassembled the ute, and as you can see that that ball joint there is basically brand new. The rubber's new, everything else is new. So this is in pretty good nick too. So yeah, give it a bit of a clean up, a wash, and a recoat, and Bob's your uncle. And here's the lower control arm, same deal. Basically brand new, so there's no point picking them all out. Just dirty. It's dirty AF. Anyway, I'm not going to crap on too much about that. It's pretty self-explanatory, and all that's left now is to roll your sleeves up and start to wash them and prep them for paint. So here we go. All right, so I've got a bit of a situation that's arisen in between doing this last work on the chassis, but I've had an opportunity to acquire a new build, and this is not so much through a want of building, it's more so a need to build.
No! God, please, no! No! No!
It's a vehicle that's going to help me around the property, and it was offered to me for free. So I thought, even though it's in reasonably bad nick and needs a bit of work, I thought I couldn't turn up the opportunity. And also, it's got a really good story, a family story to it, and a family history for me. So yeah, it's going to be a bit of work. Don't have to do it straight away, but I thought I'd blend it into this episode. So I go and pick it up this afternoon, and it's going to be a bit of a mystery reveal at the end. So stay tuned. All right, so back to the chassis parts. So basically, I've degreased all the lower control arms and all the other bits, the springs, and etc. And I've just run a bit of Solvo clean over them. And I'll just do a final prep wash. I've just got everything that I can possibly get off, and then I might even just give it a bit of a scuff, but and an etch prime, and then run the polyurethane over it. So I'm just going to remove these ball joints because they're just a bolt on. Get underneath so that you can treat the paint underneath as well, which I think is probably a good idea. You can see where the grinding marks are where they've initially ground off those old rivets. Pretty boring and mundane stuff that needs to be done, so I'm just going to get cracking with it and get it all taped up, and then I'll hang them outside and give them a spray out there. Right, so it's the following day. I went and got the trailer and went and got the new rig, and I had to actually tie it to a tree and drive off to get it off the trailer because I couldn't actually get it off because all the tyres are flat. So anyway, I'll show you now. This is the rig. Here it is. Seen better days, but it's a 1960s, I think, Series 2 or Series 2A Land Rover, and yeah, as you can see, needs a bit of work, but it's all there. It's a petrol original engine. It's leaning against the tree there because I chained it up and to get it off the trailer, and you can see, yeah, flat tyres. But overall, and believe it or not, it's still got the original seats in it, which are the first to go. And also, believe it or not, the dash, it doesn't change much with one that's actually restored. It's they're pretty bare bones, but everything's there. It's just in dirty and slightly rusty order. The top of this roof is in excellent condition, and the back is in excellent condition as well. It's been sitting in a paddock for 20 years. It hasn't done a lot in the last 20 years, but it has done a lot previously. So the story behind this was that it used to apparently belong to my grandfather, and my dad learned to drive in this, and it used to be painted pink and push cars off racetracks in somewhere in Melbourne. And I don't know how it ended up becoming or belonging to my neighbours 30 years ago in the Mount Macedon area, but it did, and he contacted me a few months ago and said that he was going to scrap it, and do I want it? So I always step up to a challenge, and I said yes, so here it is. So I want to use it as a property workhorse, and get it running. It's not going to be a showroom. It's not going to be a showroom condition car for now anyway. Used to have a grader blade on the front, so that's why the guards have been cut. And yeah, I don't know about these areas here, but for now I don't really care. But everything's there. The engine's actually turns fine. Everything is there to make it go. The brakes are seized and the clutch is gone, so I would imagine those master cylinders there and potentially the slave cylinders need to be replaced, and probably the brake lines. But the first thing to do is to get the tyres off and get some new tyres on it so I can roll it out, put it under cover, and we'll just sit it there for a while until I can get it going, and then use it as a workhorse for now, and then eventually restore it. The white top comes off and it actually becomes like a little ute. It's perfect for around the farm, and it's a great four-wheel drive. It's got diff lock and all this kind of stuff. So stay tuned to that, and now we'll get back to the ute. Okay, round one done. Just hung them up on this little contraption here and did a few coats. So that's stage one. Then I'll get cracking on with the lower control arms and the power steering unit, etc. Right, so got the lower control arms now, and I've just given one a bit of an etch prime and cleaned it up. I have ordered some new bushes, although they're pretty good, and I'm just going to leave them in for now, but I've ordered some anyway. I probably will change them when it comes to rebuilding. I know they're a bitch to get out, so I might have to get someone to it, but I don't know. Maybe I've just wasted my money buying new ones. Let me know in the comments if you think they're all right to leave. I just figure if you've come this far, like that one is definitely not centered. And the rubber is pretty old, so I was thinking while I'm here, why not? Just replace them. Not that expensive. Although it all adds up, so $60 here, $60 there. Definitely all adds up. Anyway, so I've got to rust treat this, even though I don't really need to. It's pretty much, rust free. Just going to give it a bit more of a clean and rust treat it, and then mask it up like I have with this one. So the ball joints don't get paint on them, and then start painting them.
So I decided to sandblast these lower control arms, and not fully sandblast, but just enough to get a lot of the nooks and crannies and the grease off, because I wasn't happy with the amount that was on there. And I know that I've mentioned this before, but this is the gun that I've used, Sandblasting gun, which is just a gun that you can buy off through Super Cheap Auto, handheld, little vessel, gravity fed. I've got a water trap on there. I have gone through this in one of the previous episodes, so if you want to find out more information, go back to that DIY sandblasting video. And I bought a bag of garnet, which I got from a local restoration place who do a lot of antiques. It's one of the beauties of living in the gold fields, because there's a lot of antique dealers and things like that who restore a lot of antiques. So garnet, it's a reddish rock from WA, from tailings of the mines, I'm pretty sure, and it's like a really, really coarse, really hard sand, fine sand. Hard to get, but it's about 25 kilos, $25 a bag for 25 kilos, and it does a really good job. So I use that, and that's really sort of just blast away and get into everything, but you lose a lot of product along the way. A lot of people would say make your own booth and things like that. But for the amount that I'm just doing, I'm just happy to waste that garnet, and down the track I'm going to get one of those portable sandblasting encapsulated trays with your hands, with the gloves that are part of that unit. I think they're worth their weight in gold, not only for automotive restoration, but also renovations around the property, little small hinges or whatever that's metal that you want to get some paint off. So I'll get one of those down the track. They're about $300. This is the other one I bought from a while ago from Super Cheap Auto, and it's a sandblasting gun. It's a similar kind of product, but instead of coming gravity fed, it's actually drawing it up through air circulation. It's a finer, blacker carbide sort of mix, and it's got these pointy rubber ends on it and also flat ends, and you hold it against the unit, and it sandblasts it and then recaptures some of the product underneath. So combination of these guns are good. If you've only got limited grit and you don't want to waste it, then this gun's good, and it gets right into those crevices without creating a huge dusty environment. So they're not expensive, and it's probably worth just to have it around, just to make the job a little bit easier. So just sort of run by that, and yeah, I'll just give this a bit of a clean up now, but you can see, it's done a really good job of getting the majority of that grease and grime and paint in all those tight areas, which are really, really hard to do even with a wire wheel and a drill. So anyway, I'll do the other one and then we'll start painting. Now that is better. I very nearly cut some corners there and painted it when it wasn't ready to paint. So it doesn't matter how impatient you get or how long the project goes for, it's always important to just maintain your quality and make sure you do everything exactly the same way as you did when you first started off and you had more enthusiasm. And so that way when you paint it, it's not going to flake off in 6 months' time because there's oil and grease still under there. So now I've actually pulled my finger out and done it properly. I've just rust treated that, and yeah, now I'm just going to wash it off with some Solvo Clean and then paint it. So and also tape up the ball joints and bushes. And then that's all of the painting done for the front end, upper and lower control arms, and then I'm going to do a different colour for the springs and stuff. Alright, those two lower control arms are painted. Did have a bit of an incident where one fell off the wire and landed on the dirt halfway through, so there's a couple of spatter rock marks where I had to get the air gun and blast it off, but it's my first real mistake out of the whole thing. But they're covered and they're protected, that's the main thing, and you'll never see them real anyway. So yeah, that's it. So I've still got the upper and lower control arms, the sway bars being done, and a few of those chassis mounts for the gearbox cross member and things like that. I've still got to do the gearbox cross member, springs, power steering, steering rack, and a few little odds and ends, which I'll pick up on the next episode. So I've run out of time for this episode, but just want to keep it flowing and get some content out, so that's why I thought I'd just break it up. Well, that's it for this episode. I hope you can hear me from over there. Don't have a mic. Yeah, hope you enjoyed the introduction of the new edition. Let me know in the comments below what you think I should do with it. Obviously it's not going to take precedence over the ute, but it's a project all the same. So I've seen some pretty cool things done with these in Portugal, and some guys like the singer of Land Rovers, basically, and they do them up pristinely. This is just going to be a rough and ready one, but anyway, I appreciate your thoughts on what I should do with it. As per usual, if you're following along on the journey and you're up to the same stage on the chassis, give us a like and give us a comment to see what you're up to or what you think I should be doing next, and if there's any things that I've missed. So until next time, see you later.